So let's move ahead with some other properties of acids and bases. So does the bulb glow or not? This is a demonstrative diagram of a beaker having the nails fixed in the rubber cork. This rubber cork is giving support to the nails, and these nails are respectively connected with the three components of a circuit: switch, bulb, and 6-volt battery. So this bulb will only glow in the case of acids, because acids along with water gives what? Dissociation of ion takes place. Suppose this is HCl, so take HCl plus water. It will give what? Hydronium ion plus Cl minus. So because of the production of these two ions, the movement of these ions, so the electricity flow will occur and bulb will glow. But not in the case of glucose and alcohol, because these glucose and alcohol do not have free H plus ions to liberate. So these do not have free H plus ions, that is why these will not pass the electricity. So this is it here. Acids and bases conduct electricity in solution. Both acids and bases dissolve in water to produce ions. Ions are electrically charged atom or group of atoms. Acids produce hydrogen ions in solution, while base produce hydroxide ions. This is important. Ions can move around in the solution, and therefore charge is transferred from one portion of solution to other. Thus, both acids and bases can conduct electricity, because acid liberates H plus ions and bases liberates OH minus ions. So because of the movement of these ions, we will see a flow of current. Ions in aqueous solution. The experiment suggests that hydrogen ion in HCl are produced in the presence of water. In the absence of water, the HCl will not dissociate. Okay, the separation of H plus ions from HCl cannot occur in absence of water. That is why in the absence of water, the HCl will not dissociate into its two component H plus and Cl minus. Okay, because the single H plus ions cannot be present. So it combines with the constituent H2O molecule to produce this hydronium ion. So because of this hydronium ion, we get to see the acidity of the solution. So HCl always dissociates in the presence of water. Suppose we have concentrated H2SO4 and NaCl. Okay, NaCl, H2SO4. What happens when these both react? We will see sodium sulfate and HCl. So here we have blocked this with a guard tube containing calcium chloride. This calcium chloride is used because it helps in it helps in absorbing the HCl made in the solution. So because of the HCl, it is we can see that when this will get dissolved in the calcium chloride, you can see that a pipe is connected, and when in this pipe connected, we will see the liberation of HCl. How can we detect that an HCl gas is produced? Take a blue litmus paper near to the mouth of the pipe, and you will see that it changes its color from blue to red. So what this indicates? That there is a presence of acid. Alright. Now bases in aqueous solution. Not all bases dissolve in water. Bases which are soluble in water are alkalis. This is a very new term for you guys, so you need to remember this. NaOH base plus water gives what? Na plus OH minus. MgOH twice, because the Mg has the valency of 2 plus H2O. So when this is dissolved in water, it gives 2 moles of hydroxide ions and the magnesium ion. So what we have discussed so far, that when acid is dissolved in water, it liberates hydronium ion and the constituent anion. Now when a base is added into the water, what we can get from it, that hydroxide ion is released. So bases in aqueous solution, this is the demonstrated diagram, that NaOH dissolved in water to give OH minus and Na plus. This is the hydroxide ion and this is the sodium ion. And whereas if a HCl is dissolved in the same beaker, you will see H plus and Cl minus. This H plus combines with H2O to produce the hydronium ion. Okay. Acids in aqueous solution. Hydrogen ion cannot exist alone, but they exist after combining with water molecule. Thus, hydrogen ion must always be shown as H plus or in the form of hydronium ion. Okay, so this is important, that hydrogen ions must always be shown as H plus or in the form of hydronium ions. Okay, dilution. This is an important topic. The process of dissolving an acid or a base in water is highly exothermic because a lot amount of energy is released when an acid or a base is diluted. What do you mean by dilution? The addition of water. Mixing an acid or base with water results in decrease in the concentration of ions, that is H3O or OH minus, hydronium ion or hydroxide ion per unit volume. Mixing an acid or a base with water, so obviously the hydronium ion and hydroxide ion will decrease on the gradual increase in the H2O molecule. Such a process is called dilution, and the acid or a base is said to be diluted when the H3O plus ion, because of this H3O plus ion, the acidic character is there, and because of the OH minus ion, the basic character is there. Focus on the dilution of an acid or a base, the amount of hydronium ion in the hydroxide ion will decrease and the solution is said to be diluted. Now let's jump into the question number 1. Why do HCl, HNO3, etc. show acidic character in aqueous solution while solution of compounds like alcohol and glucose do not exhibit acidic character? So you need to first interpret the question, what question is demanding. So why do HCl and HNO3 show acidic character? So you need to see that when HCl is added in water, it produces hydronium ion plus Cl minus, whereas HNO3, when HNO3 is added, what will happen? Hydronium ion. And so what do you see here? Because of the liberation of H plus ions, the acidic character is shown in the aqueous solution, while in compounds like alcohol and glucose, it does not exhibit acidic character because alcohol and glucose do not have a free H plus ion to liberate. So this is why the hydronium ion is not formed and it doesn't show any acidic character. Okay. Dilution. You are not supposed to add water in acid, concentrated acid. Never ever. This shall not be done. A lot of energy is released, which may result in the explosion of the container in which you are diluting. So, every time you are going to add concentrated acid while continuously stirring it into the water. So, in this process, it will not have a lot of danger, because when water is added in concentrated acid, it is very hazardous because fumes will form and this may result in explosion and a lot of energy will be released. So always you add concentrated acid in water while continuously stirring it. Why does an aqueous solution of an acid conduct electricity? Because you are never supposed to start the answer with because. Write it down that an aqueous solution of an acid conduct electricity because of the liberation of H plus ions. That is why it is able to conduct electricity. Because of the liberation of H plus ions and movement of ions, the conduct of electricity takes place. Okay. Why does dry HCl gas does not change the color of dry litmus paper? Because HCl will not dissociate in dry state. Okay, so this is why the color of dry litmus paper does not changes. While diluting an acid, why is it recommended that acid should be added to water and not water to the acid? I just explained it that the acid should be added to water because this will not produce as much energy as it liberates while adding water in acid. Okay, so when water is added in acid, this may result in high energy levels and can be hazardous. Alright. Why is the concentration of hydronium ion affected when an acid solution is diluted? Because more number of H2O is being added into the acidic solution. So indeed, the H3O plus ions will decrease. Alright. How is the concentration of hydroxide ions affected when excess base is dissolved in a solution of sodium hydroxide? How is the concentration of hydroxide ion affected when excess base is dissolved into the solution of sodium hydroxide? So the answer of this question is when an excess base is dissolved in a solution of sodium hydroxide dissociates into OH minus ions, and when the number of OH minus increases, then the concentration of hydroxide ions also increases, because Concentration is the number of OH minus ions present per unit volume. Alright, so this is what the answer of this question.